every diagnosis, every setback, every terrifying moment is carving out the path that you're meant to walk.
Drug companies spend $6 billion a year convincing us we need their products.
The greatest medicine is learning how not to need medicine in the first place.
Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Desiree Caruso, Naturopathic Doctor, and I am interviewing my friend and colleague, Brandi Garden, co-founder of Aversio Wellness and author of Healing Your Body, Mind, and Soul. Today, we are diving into Chapter 3, Breaking Up with Big Pharma. Brandi, this chapter opens with a quote from Hippocrates, and it says, "The greatest medicine of all is teaching people how not to need it." Why do you think this message is more important than ever? And how do you think that people can actually start moving toward that?
Yeah, I think true healing isn't adding more medicine. It's needing less of it. And we live in a world where the default answer is, what pill can I take for that? And we've been conditioned to ask that question. But Hippocrates, long before the modern medical system, reminded us that the greatest medicine is learning how not to need medicine in the first place. And that really means building resilience in your life. And that's through food and through movement and through rest and through mindset and through connection to nature, so that pharmaceuticals become the exception, not the rule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all encompassing. Okay, I'm going to ask you the $6 billion question. Drug companies spend $6 billion a year convincing us we need their products. $6 billion a year. Like, what does that do to the way that we see our health and even ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a TV here where I am today at our lake house, and I don't miss it because I can't remember as a younger person ever turning on the TV and not seeing a pharmaceutical commercial and not even being aware of what was being said there. I think we've been sold this idea that health comes in a pill bottle. That is where you get your health. And $6 billion isn't about education. It's about persuasion. And you and I mean, we have a brand, we have a wellness brand, and we do, of course, we post videos on social media accounts, and we do share information about our products and what we're offering from the Kingdom Fungi. But we very much are doing it from a place of education. Yeah. And when it becomes this fine line between education and persuasion, I think that's where the trouble is. It convinces us that our bodies are broken. And then the fix lies outside of us. And that's what's not okay with me. To spend that much money convincing people that they're broken is not okay. That kind of messaging shapes our identity. Mm-hmm. And instead of trusting our own inner healer, we really do start believing that we are powerless without a prescription. And I think it has to stop.
When you were quickly exited from the Symphony trial after that patch that you had turned out to be skin cancer, it almost felt like good luck and thanks for trying. What did you feel in those moments, and what did that experience really teach you about trust?
Yeah, I mean, it was another wake-up call. I realized I was a data point, right? I was a data point. When the skin cancer showed up, I was out of the trial almost instantly. And I'm not going to say there was no compassion or continuity, but there was just a lack of guidance. Just, you don't fit anymore. And that it hit me hard because I actually loved taking that pharmaceutical because it took all of my symptoms away and I didn't have a plan. I was too young to be aware that there were other options out there. Nothing was being told to me. So I had trusted this system with really my life. But to them, I wasn't Brandi. I was case number whatever. And that's when I knew I really had to start advocating for myself. So it was a gift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really was a gift. And then later, your MRI results showed that your brain looked much older than your age. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite quotes says that our purpose often sits right next door to the hardest moments of our life. And why was that one of the hardest, and how did it shape your path forward?
Yeah. Gosh, just when you say it, I can remember it. That was rock bottom right there. That was rock bottom for me. But it also became that doorway to purpose, like you said. Seeing my brain scan, being told it looked decades older than my actual age was so terrifying. I thought, if I keep going like this, what's my future going to look like? But as painful as it was, it also cracked me open. It forced me to find another way. And that search for healing beyond pharmaceuticals became my life's work. So I am grateful for it.
I love that. I think when we can turn our pain into passion and purpose, that's really when we're helping the collective
Yes.
consciousness, and it's a beautiful thing to see you do that. You write that drugs can be life-saving for acute conditions, and there are certain scenarios where they are necessary, but they're not designed for chronic
Mhm.
disease. What do you think happens when we use a quick fix model for problems that actually require long-term healing?
Yeah. We end up managing illness instead of creating wellness, is what happens, right?
Mhm.
And if you spend your whole life managing an illness, are you really living your life? Quick fixes definitely have their place in emergencies, and
Mhm.
thank goodness for them. But chronic illness requires daily choices, right? Lifestyle shifts, and it requires a lot of patience. And when we try to slap a quick fix on something that needs long term healing, we
Mhm.
trap people in dependency instead
Mhm.
of giving them what I would consider true freedom.
So, what does it take practically and emotionally for someone to break up with Big Pharma and reclaim control of their health?
I think it takes courage. It takes courage that I didn't know I had in me, but I can promise you all have it in you if you're listening to this. And it takes deciding that your healing belongs to you. So, on a practical level, it means asking those hard questions, exploring the alternatives that are out there, making changes that support the root cause healing that is available. So, emotionally, it's about letting go of fear, which I think is so much of what was the root cause of all of my condition. Big pharma thrives on fear. Just watch any of those commercials, right? They thrive on it. Fear of pain, fear of disease, fear of aging. And breaking that cycle means reclaiming trust in your body's innate wisdom and letting go of the fear.
When you look back at your cancer diagnoses and the seizure, what would you say to your younger self in those moments?
Oh, you've asked me younger self questions before. They always
They're
get
my
me.
favorite.
Yeah. Oh, I would just tell her, "You're stronger than you think. You're stronger than you think." I didn't realize how strong I was, and that this pain is shaping your purpose, and that's not what you want. So every diagnosis, every setback, every terrifying moment is carving out the path that you're meant to walk. And it won't make sense right now, but one day you will use these scars to light the path for others. And I can't tell you how many times, especially summer season, my scars from the removal of skin cancer are exposed in the spring and summer months. And they're often the beginning of beautiful conversations where I'm able to share the success of my healing journey with others.
What a gift for other people to see that and to have an example so that they too can be inspired to do that for themselves. Brandy, chapter 3 is all about breaking free from a system that is built on profit. But in chapter 4, Becoming the Teacher You Needed, you flip the script completely, where your healing journey transforms from surviving to truly leading.
Absolutely. This is where I stopped being the patient and I started becoming the teacher. It's a good
Mhm.
one.
Yeah, don't miss it. Be well, everyone. See you next time.